How old are you?
I'll be 44 this summer. So I was like, another baby.
Okay.
I feel like I got the energy to do it, but like, just means I'm gonna be kind of old when they get older.
My brother, my brother's he's a year older than you.
Yeah.
And they just adopted.
Yeah. So, but
baby.
I had this, started praying about it. And truthfully, like I've been praying probably the last year and a half. God really like changed some of my prayer time, specifically concerning Brittany, to just be, the only thing I ask is God, like give her the desires of her heart.
Yeah.
And if I can help in that, show me what I need to do. And so I think she's really wanted me to get to a place of like,
where you want,
I'm game for another baby.
Yeah.
So felt good about that. Had this moment with the Holy Spirit, truthfully, that was like a convicting, not like a projecting, like, oh, this is like law. Everyone should procreate for God. But it was more of this like, I think I've just thought about it. You get married, you have kids, and then when you decide to stop, you stop. But it was, confirmation was me, it was like an epiphany almost of, man, if we do this, like we're really making a decision not to just procreate, but like actually co-create with God. And it was like
you're a deep well, bro.
This one, the other two, I was like, man, I kind of feel bad for my boys now because I did not think this deeply about it. It was just, it's what we do. But I felt, and I was sensitive with it because I didn't want to like get my wife's hopes up too much. But I felt very strongly that God said like, hey, if you ask me for a girl, I'll give it to you because I'm good.
Yeah.
That kind of moment.
That's awesome, man.
But it was like a year and a half of just praying. Like, I know what my wife's heart's desires, but I don't have control over the outcome of what the baby is, boy or girl.
Yeah.
And when I felt like a complete peace, literally I was like, hey, I think I'm game. And I actually think God is going to just in his goodness give us a baby girl to like complete our family.
Yeah.
And so my wife's like a tracker of all the like what you should do and do to like, and she was like, this would be the perfect window. And bro, it was like first go around.
Hey,
she's like, there's no way. And I'm like,
thus saith the Lord.
yeah. And then
you're like, babe, faith without works is dead.
I know,
Let's go.
come on.
Let's be obedient.
Let's be obedient to the Lord.
we did all the blood tests and stuff like that. And she didn't want to, she like forwarded me all of the results. So I was at the office and I'm literally like the field next to the church. And I like click the results thing and I'm literally keeping my phone like this as they like generate and like pop up. Cause I'm like, oh, I started doubting everything that I felt I had confirmation of, but then flipped it over with baby girl. And I was just like, so happy to share with her.
Well, I don't have that spiritual thing, but I will say this before we jump into some conversation that, we were talking about to our boys about trying to have another child and that Jennifer really wanted. We both really wanted a daughter.
Yeah.
And so we had been telling the boys that. Well, end up getting pregnant, find out it's a girl. I'll never forget Nixon. So he's 12 now. So this was, 5 years ago.
Okay. So
6 years ago, actually.
So he was 6.
He was 6.
Okay. Same.
He literally goes, we get in the car and he goes, hey, Dad. I was like, yeah. He goes, good job.
And he's a 6-year-old?
He's 6. He's like, Dad, good job, So
that's funny.
Are you still playing basketball right now?
Oh man, no, not right now. Yeah, we're out of season. I was just texting in the car before I came in. Parents that want me to coach again. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't know about that, man. That's a lot.
Every Saturday. I mean, just your whole day's consumed.
It's a lot.
So.
Yeah.
I have resolved I'll never coach any of my kids in sports. It's
probably a good place.
I just can't do it.
Well, I mean, they're little kids, and even when we lose, I know you're not supposed to feel a certain way about it. It ruins my whole rest of the day.
Yeah, you're super competitive.
And I try not to be like with that. And so Brittany's like, I don't know if maybe when they're teenagers, but I think you take this a bit too serious. So I was like, I've got to let somebody else probably take the reins on it.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you for being on here, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
We were talking about it's been so awesome getting to work with you with Sidecar, as a client or whatever, but more than just that, just like friends, just watching from afar and up close, knowing some of the story, just like how well you've led, dude. It's been really awesome. I know it has had a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
How old is the church?
So the church is, February was 7 years. Well, the church is 55 years.
55 years.
We've been there 7. So we got there year 49.
Yeah.
And then kind of ushered in the change from there. So.
And it's just been awesome to watch the way that you've led change. And there's been things like even when we were in the coaching season where we were coming alongside you guys, things that we picked up from your journey, even before we were coaching you, things that you said that we actually bring out in some of our coaching. Like, all the time. Like things that you've done so well with coming in and honoring the people that are there, honoring the legacy, honoring the past, having vision for the future, but leading people pastorally, gracefully. You've just done it so well, man.
You didn't rip the Band-Aid off and say, here we
tearing down the steeple. Landon's here, gonna save the church.
That's what I wanted to do, but
I'm sure. Well, that's the thing. So I want to talk about that a little bit because you do. As long as I've known you, you have been a visionary leader, very creative, great communicator, designing spaces. I mean, even when you were a youth pastor, young adult, all that stuff, like you were designing these spaces that were so attractional, massive crowds of people coming. So I know that you stepped into that role with, okay, there's a lot of change that needs to happen. And I know you had vision for it, but like I don't know if like tempered or restrained or what you did, but you've taken your time.
Yeah.
And
you had a good pace with the changes that you made.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times leaders, like we just want to jump in and just like, boom, roll it all out,
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if I consciously like came in like I need to temper myself. I literally think now reflecting back, like it was a grace I think that God gave me that I didn't have previously for that season. Because it's been interesting. So this year, February was 7-year anniversary of me being there. And I felt this like shift moving into this year of hey, the anchor's been cut. Go. Like permission again to like go, because the past 7 years, there has been a part of me that's felt like, have I lost my drive? Have I lost that like piece? Was that piece like wrong?
Yeah.
So there's been like an identity crisis to like the natural wiring I think that God's given me to some extent over the 7 years, but like it didn't go away. I think God literally just in his grace slowed me down.
Yeah.
For that season.
Even with people, even with other leaders, even with staff, even with just certain dynamics, family life, helping me see other things, but also didn't like remove the like, no, I've gifted you and wired you to be a visionary leader that advances things. But there has been like that tension of like, did I lose a step? Am I not like,
do I not have the edge anymore?
Fire anymore? Like, like we're not going as fast as like I want to go, but this year, and it really was truthfully because, well, I think this is part of it. Every year since I've got there's been something that's kind of tethered us to the past in some leadership throughout the church, which hasn't been bad. And I think it's forced me to slow down and think about people and things like that. But this is the first year that I haven't had any inherited leadership from the history of the church. And not that anybody was necessarily bad or wrong. It's just been hard to really get the whole group of leadership always thinking forward without that, like, well, when we way back then, and even just a cultural mind shift. I think we talked about this a number of times. Church planning, church revitalization, both super hard things, totally different in a lot of ways. Advantage maybe with church planning, you get to bring culture from the get-go. Revitalization is this like slow turning, and you don't realize how much ingrained culture for 49 years like sits in a place. And not even like intentionally bad by people. I don't think people were trying to hinder, but there was still just this like mindset. And this year feels like a full-blown oh, wow, I can run again.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting though, is that at year 5, I think it was, you guys really got, if I remember correctly, the roadmap that you guys were working on after we worked with you, culture was like the first really big initiative, right? And you guys rolled out all kinds of stuff. And now this is going to be what, year 3 from that then?
Yeah. So when we started working with you guys, it was 2023?
Yeah.
2022? 2023?
2020, end of 2022, beginning 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing, here's what I was going to point out is that probably I would imagine that there's a spiritual component, make no mistake about it, but I think the last few years, you guys have been working so hard on culture that the flywheel is another piece of that. Is
for sure.
Yeah.
Because it just takes time. Like
Yes.
culture you can't build overnight, especially in like what you're saying, a revitalization situation. Like there's a lot of things you got to unlearn. The team has to unlearn, or the church has to unlearn, and this fresh thing. And you guys just worked at it so hard.
Let me ask you this, because we walked through that process with you of let's define the values, figure out how are we going to deliver them using, we always say story statements and symbols, and how are we going to defend them. I would imagine that not everything from the past, there's some things from the past that were God and some things that were man. Yeah. How do we keep what was God and know what was man? Mm-hmm. So how did you in that process kind of figure out like, these are pieces of who this church is that are from the past that we are going to carry forward? Yeah. But then there's also these things that I think it's just a new season for us as a church that we're going to.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the church from the beginning, 13 families, I think it was 1969, like set out to like build a church that reached people. And I think over those years, there was always a heart to be in the community, to reach people. It's the execution of it that I think was lacking. Yeah. So I don't think it was ever within the core of the church and the people that were there. We want to see more people come to know Jesus. We would love our church to grow. We would love, it was just some of the know-how. Yeah. So it wasn't really like the heart that we had to like shit a few people.
Sure.
But generally speaking, the eldership that was in place, the leaders that were in place, they wanted to see the church move forward and reach people. I don't think there was ever a worry about the church becoming too big or too many people or outsiders coming in. So there was that to work with right away. So I knew, hey, we got to keep that, but we got to help them see like the how in getting out there to the community and actually then how when people do show up, you treat them, you follow up with them, you disciple them, all the other components that aren't necessarily as easy as someone new shows up. Well, we were nice to them and we greeted them. It was just stuff that I think after, at least if you've been in some healthy environments for a while or productive environments, you just by default know some like, okay, well, here's the follow-up steps. Yeah. Here's what we need to get them connect to. Here are the systems that we need to have in place. And just none of that was there. So it wasn't the heart. So I recognized like, hey, we don't really have to shift the heart of this place too much. It is the behind the scenes work that then takes place. Yeah. And they were primarily operating with for years, a pastor and an admin. Mm-hmm. Wow. And really no support staff in any type of way. And it wasn't even because there wasn't finances for that. They really operated trying to empower volunteers, but didn't really understand, I think, the limitations of some of the people that they had in leadership roles. So I don't think there was ever a heart issue there. Yeah. So it wasn't hard to not sell, that's a bad term. It wasn't hard to cast new vision about wanting to reach people and to lead people to Jesus. Like everyone was gung-ho immediately. It was more the finessing of like, there's some things that we got to shift a little bit. Like this worship culture we have, it doesn't seem very inviting. So when new people show up, this is the reason why we need to change this, why we need to change hospitality, why we should have people out here greeting people.
I think it's great that you're saying that because a lot of times we just tell people what to do, why we're doing it. And it's just impossible to actually set culture and change culture by just saying, here's what you need to do. Here's what we're going to do. It's like the why behind it, you know?
I also think if you tell someone what to do, you're not teaching them how to think.
Yeah.
But when you tell someone why to do something, you teach them how to think, which the how can change, but they know the why now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the first couple of years, I mean, it was, I think the learning curve for me was, and again, God's grace on it all. But the awareness to be like, okay, it's not just going to be me in front of the people we have casting this vision, telling them what to do, and even explaining why. The context of the revitalization was they were so used to close proximity with the pastor that we had to really nurture relationships, like go to people's homes, go to small groups that had been established for a decade plus and sit with them and answer the questions, the hard questions, the like things you think like that should be a no-brainer, but like realizing like they just don't know what they don't know and they've never been exposed to visionary leadership, visionary direction. And it wasn't, we don't know how, and we want to understand why, but it was in very small context, not just in, hey, we're doing a team rally and we're going to tell everybody what we're going to do and why we're going to do it. It was like the very like, hey, we're going to sit down and have a meal. I'm going to come hang out at your house for a couple hours. There was a long, probably a 16 to 20 month period of us making some rotations of that. Yeah. Knowing that as we get them on board, if you will, with where we're going, and then empower some leaders that are capable then of sharing this vision, casting it, explaining it, then we can start sending those people to help with this as we were growing at the same time. So
that's the work that a lot of people don't want to do though. Like, and I think that's the difference between just a leader and a shepherd. Yeah. A leader will just have the big environment, cast this is where we're going, get on and get off. Whereas a shepherd will come and
for the one.
Yeah. And and it takes a lot of time to do that. I mean, one of the things that we do with Sidecars, we'll do these change management communication plans. And it basically outlines stakeholders from the top to the bottom. Yeah. When you're producing or whenever you're leading change, you have to identify what is the change that we're doing, why are we doing it, where are we going, all that kind of stuff. But identify the different stakeholders and what order you need to communicate to them. And it just takes a lot of time. And so whenever we transitioned the church in San Francisco and united it with another church, we did that. That was the first time I think that we ever used this framework. And I remember I had so many, it gave us clarity. Yeah. It helped us to facilitate those conversations. It helped us to value and prioritize people at the deepest level of commitment that they were, so that they weren't, everybody's not hearing this at the same time.
Same time. Yeah. Yep.
And I just remember I was exhausted by the end of it.
Oh yeah.
But I remember the comments that we had people tell us many people had been a part of either churches shut down or church splits or things like that. And they told us they had never, with tears in their eyes, they'd never been cared for like that before. And I feel like the unification of our church with this other church was done really well.
Never been
it's great.
Shepherded on to the next place.
Yeah.
And that's what they felt like.
And I can't say that we didn't come up with that. There was Wayne Francis was actually the one that told us from New York, from Life Church New York. And he was like, man, with this, we need to make sure, he was one of our overseers, but he goes, it's going to take time. It's going to be a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, but you're going to shepherd the people well by doing this. You know, it sounds like that's what you did.
Yeah, it was exhausting for sure.
Felt like a broken record.
Felt like it was the same conversation over and over again. Yeah. We did have to set at some point though, like, hey, the boat's leaving the dock.
Yeah.
And that was the 50-year celebration. So like we spent an entire year. So maybe it wasn't quite 16 to 20 months that we were doing like home visits and things like that. Maybe it was maybe it just felt like that. Maybe it was just primarily that first year.
It was a month that felt like a year.
I know, yeah. Maybe we only did it for 4. My wife would probably be able to say the accuracy of how long that was. But I knew we were coming up on a year, and this is God in it too. We got there at year 49 in February. February of the next year was celebrating 50. So it was my first full year there. Plus we were moving to 50. So it all lined up with name change, new direction. And so there was this like, hey, we're going to celebrate this past, honor it, everything, but we are moving in a new direction. Mm-hmm. And so all of that year was still kind of like an assertive, a loving, assertive way. Like, we're answering all the questions, and if there is any concerns, we need to resolve those before the boat leaves the dock. Yeah. And that kind of actually became our terminology. Is like, hey, the ship is leaving the dock at some point. And you got to make a decision if you want to be on or off. And it's okay to segue, and we'll let you segue in love and help find another church. We totally understand if you don't want to be on board with the direction, but this is not just me coming in, but even the established elders at that time were all on board with where we were going to go.
Here's what you did during that time, which I love. Is, I mean, we always say this, and again, this is
getting comfortable
not us.
Over
we
here.
just stole from someone else, but clear is kind. And
that's Brene Brown.
Is unkind. And you gave people the clarity during those conversations to be able to make a decision that was the best decision for them. And they were able to do that because of the time you spent.
What was the hardest part?
Which is a really kind thing of you to do.
Oh, yeah. What was the hardest part about?
Trying to bring truth in the room.
Yeah. Let's go.
We keep the sidecar terminology going. Sure.
What was the, I feel like I know a lot about church planting. Yeah. After planting 2 churches and helping with ARC and all this, I know nothing about church revitalization. 2 questions. What has been the biggest learning for you in leading change like this in a revitalization? And then number 2, what was the most challenging piece to the whole thing?
Yeah, I think the learning is what we've been discussing a little bit was the pace.
Yeah.
I thought, because prior to this, I was more I'm going to plant a church.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that.
And then all of this out of nowhere came to us. And we're like, okay, this is what we really feel God's calling us to step into. And I thought it would be more along the lines of like, we're going to hit the ground running in culture and vision. And, we're bringing people with us. Well, one of the obstacles was we did bring people with us, but it became, here's our people and there's Landon's people. And so it wasn't just us going to homes. It was also bringing some of these people into those homes with us. And so the pace of the first several years was way slower than I ever expected it to be. I was thinking launch Sunday, we're going to have X amount of people show up. And my expectations were different. And so I think the hardship was that I discovered really quickly, as I was kind of on that path of potentially church planting and going through ARC training and all of that, was, oh man, there's people that can help with this. There's a support system in place. Getting to church revitalization, and I was like, oh, this feels like no man's land.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who to call. I'm discovering really quickly this is different.
Yeah.
Even when we changed the name, I thought our name change Sunday was going to be this epic turnout. Like, we treated it like it was a launch Sunday. And bro, Sunday afternoon, I was like, that kind of sucked. That did not meet expectation at all. It was like a blip on the increase meter. And just some of those things that you wrestle with as a leader on a Sunday afternoon after you put your heart and soul into like, God gave us this name, everything's aligned, this is the new direction, the mission. And bro, within 2 weeks, nobody cared.
Yeah.
Other than like, they knew something had shifted, but it wasn't like the way you carry it, like your baby into this thing. And so realizing it was just it's just a different thing, not harder or easier, just different.
Yeah.
Now the advantage, we had a building.
Yeah.
We had some money in the bank.
Yeah.
We had some built-in people already. Not all of them capable of doing what we wanted to do, but there were some advantages to it. You just kind of felt, fortunately for me, like I had relationships and connections, but I didn't have that like, hey, walk me through how you transition this church
like
over the past 7 years. What are the steps? And even since then, I've talked to a few guys who've done the same thing that are a few years behind us. And it is very interesting. Almost a very similar pattern unfolds, it seems like. And I haven't done enough research to say like, oh, this is with every church revitalization, but it does seem year one, there's some excitement just because there's newness, a new leader, some new direction, new vision. Then year two, when you've started to make some pretty significant changes, resistance and fallout, and then you have to work through that. And year 3 and 4 can be, truthfully for us, year 3 came and it was COVID. So that actually worked to our advantage because we kind of got to do a hard reset.
Kind of a change accelerator, I would imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good stuff was happening, but there was still underlining tension. Even with all the work we did to bring people along, it was when real change started to happen and a lot of real different looking people and perspectives and political stances started coming to the church, that it was like, okay, the water's getting a little rocky here. And I can tell that some people aren't, and then COVID happened at the peak of like our growth. So like on that point, it was kind of a downer, but it was like, oh wait, this kind of actually cleared out some space. And when we came back, it was like a fresh start.
That's great.
And so
what you're saying is this to schedule a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Anytime you're revitalizing.
Revitalization.
Now, if I could go back and do that, I would have gone to an island somewhere and just did all my video messages from
no kidding.
some beach somewhere. But that worked to our advantage because it helped, kind of, there wasn't proximity all the time. There wasn't a lot of questions. Everything was online. There was nothing that we could really do about that at the time. I guess we could have still met in person in Texas, not to revisit all of that kind of stuff. But
let me ask you this, Landon, because before the revitalization, it was a pretty homogenous church, right? And now it's, very diverse church.
Oh, it's so cool going there.
It's amazing. Yeah. How did you lead that? To me, that's even bigger than, at least I think from my perspective, that's even bigger than changing just some systems and methods and the aesthetic, the wineskin. It's actually a massive transition for a church to.
So like when we got there, our first Sunday, I think we brought 40 people with us. And the total Sunday is like 120 people. The primary demographic was 65 plus white Caucasian. And where we're at is a pretty diverse part of our city. How we got to where we're at now, which I would say is a pretty extremely diverse. I would say diverse in the sense that we match the diversity demographics of our community.
You look like your community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is what a church should look like.
Yeah. If you're in an all white community.
Yeah. Well, and we get questions about this, like, oh, how'd you guys diversify? And my first thing is always you're not going to have a diverse church if you're in a 98% singular race, city, environment, community. So a lot of those factors are out of your control.
Yeah.
City, other factors, things like that play a way bigger role than the church being there and being able to be diverse or not. For us, knowing our community, that's why I felt like a foreign place and like, God, what are you doing? Because I'd always envisioned a diverse community for our church, the church that we'd be leading someday, just because of my upbringing, churches I was involved in the past, things like that, the church that I got saved in. How we got there, I don't know if there's like a pinpointed, like we did this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. What I would say and encourage any pastor with is your church in authenticity will reflect what your life is outside of the building. Mm-hmm. So for me, our family, what our home looks like, the people we have in our house is really now a reflection of like what our church looks like. Yeah. And so I think there are things that you can strategically do within the context of your church if you want a diverse church. And I don't think any of those things are necessarily wrong, but I think as a leader, you've got to look at yourself and say, is what I want, is it reflected in my own life? Yeah. Because we should do that with everything else. If I want my people to give, I've got to be a giver.
Yeah.
If I want my people to be in scripture, I've got to be in scripture.
Right.
It all starts with who's ever up here. And so it wasn't that hard because we had already had that in our family context, my life context. And I think it was just putting that on display of these are the people that I do life with. We do life with.
That's really great.
Well, you know what? I remember now when we went through that values exercise with you guys, one of them, I don't know if it ended up making it on the list, but was diversity.
Oh, yeah.
For you guys, you know? And even we talk about that when we're talking about defining the values for a church, is some of them are going to be aspirational, but most of them should be actual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because or else you're just trying to be something that you are not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's okay to have aspirational ones, but like you're saying, like the lion's share of what you're working with, it needs to be that you're already embodying that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think to the point of like building a diverse church, I think the immediate thought, because like if I look at our church, yes, I see the different looking people, but man, inside of all of that are cultural differences, political differences, style differences, all sorts of different things. And so I tell our team this all the time. It is wonderful and it is beautiful to have a diverse church, but it also comes with a lot of diverse problems.
Yeah.
And so when we were working through our cultural stuff, one of the things that like we still like emphasize over and over again is we celebrate diversity. It is a thing that we celebrate completely at a Trademark, but we fight for unity.
Love that.
That's great. Say it one more time.
We celebrate diversity and we fight for unity.
It's great. Fantastic.
Because diversity can be beautiful, but you can have a diverse church, and this is something that we even noticed within our own context as more and more people started showing up, and we saw it primarily in our like our small groups. Is diverse on Sunday, still segregated in our different breakups. And so we had to be very intentional about, okay, how do we get through that? Now, some of that was generational too, because not only are we diverse racially, we're diverse generationally. So we've got a spectrum from babies up to folks in their 60s and 70s. I think at our last Welcome to the Family, like our membership thing, I looked and I was like, man, this room literally looks like 55 plus in here. And then the very next one was like all young adults. And so we're even trying to still figure out, okay, what's this interesting combination of people, not just color of skin and background, but like age demographics. The older age demographics, I think, isolated more, which I think is just maybe cultural, historical leanings. Our young adults just meshing. It was that was no problem. So it was then figuring out how do we strategically get some of our like middle-aged to older folks diversifying in their relationships. And I also think it's because you have very established relationships when you get to certain ages. And I think that's the hardest thing for pastors sometimes. You got your people. You've had your people. You know who you trust. It's hard to let new relationships in. But if you do want to build a diverse church, you have to work at that from a sincere standpoint.
Not
you can't just I'm having somebody on stage
token female on stage, token, black, white, Asian, whatever. I think that whenever and that was kind of propagated for a while in churches that we've been a part of from afar.
A lot of organizations.
A lot of organizations. And I think it's just like the key word that you said is it's got to be authentic. And especially, and I'm saying this as a white person, but I think if you're a minority, there's a greater sensitivity to that, and you read right through that. Like 100%. And I think that pastors have to really be careful with like just, it's like the token picture on your Instagram profile. It's and it's like, man, it's just not authentic. And it's actually doing more. It's working against you.
For sure.
And that's where any value, I think.
Of course.
The diversity piece. But
Well, I think a simple thing you can do too is just ask questions. So we went through a really hard time. The hardest part of like 2020 for us was when a lot of the racial things happened. And I think it was June of 2020. And And what it forced us to do, though, and it ended up being very, very beautiful, is I was like, okay, this can either further unify us, and we're fighting for unity, even though we hadn't established that terminology yet.
Yeah.
But or this will just divide us, and this could totally destroy, what God's doing in our church. And so we literally just put some dinners together that kind of forced people to be in the same room, and to use sidecar terminology, it was just really like truth in the room. Like, tell me how you feel. Give me your perspective on this. And that was catalytic. Really? It wasn't me leading necessarily a conversation or trying to conjure something up. It was real people having real conversations with the reminder, like, hey, we go to church together.
Yeah.
Above all things, we're united in Christ, and it's okay to differ on things, but can we just like talk about these things objectively, so I can see your point of view, you can see their point of view, and we can talk through it, and we don't ever have to we can celebrate the diversity of thought too.
Yeah,
perspective.
It's called cognitive diversity.
Yeah.
It's a bit,
We don't have to like all be on the same page about every single thing, but we can still love each other in differences.
I actually love that you said that, because I think we've had this conversation a lot recently with unity of, you're right. We don't all have to agree on the same things.
100%.
Give your illustration of dogma.
Yeah, so
doctrine. I think this is it's just a helpful framework to know.
Gosh, I'm trying
what
to
should you
remember
be aligned with.
So you have dogma, you have doctrine, and you have debate. And so dogma, these are things, it's okay to be dogmatic about certain things. I mean, you and I both, we would lay our life down for Jesus because we believe that he is the Son of God. Let's be dogmatic. And so the things that are dogma, you'll die for.
Yeah.
Doctrine, these are things that will divide over or divide for. That's why denominations are made. There's these doctrinal things. And then there's debate. These are things that we can just have discussion around.
For sure.
Debate.
Yeah.
The problem is that most people put all of them in the dogma category, And so it's like, it's okay for us to have debate and to have dialogue, respectful discourse around these things. And we can disagree, and that's okay. I mean, we have different perspectives and still be unified, I think, but a lot of times, especially in churches, it's like everything's dogma. Everything, I'm going to die on this. Spiritualize everything. And it's like, if you can't get on board with this, and then the death is usually the death of the relationship,
Yeah, 100%. I think that's brilliant.
Did you face that whenever, I'm sure you did, like leading through change initially, like helping people to see, like, we can disagree over these things, but you can still be a part of this?
Yeah, and it took some time. And again, I think everything will trickle down through wherever the highest tier of leadership is, right? And so I think for our people, it trickled down to our people because in our elder meetings, our board meetings, there was a lot of diversity of thought on doctrine and other things, and who can preach and who can lead, and all the gamut of everything that we talk about as pastors and wrestle with. And in that room, and again, I think this was just a grace of God, we decided, hey, outside of the essentials of our faith, there is room for conversation.
Yeah.
And if we can't do that in here, then we can never expect that to go down in a healthy way to the rest of the church. And so I think it started in that boardroom, really, of guys that had been very like brought up in the particular denomination that the church originated in, with some doctrinal beliefs about certain things. And then some guys coming in that were new to the church, totally gifted, met all the qualifications to be in that room as well, but had differing perspectives. And it was just agreement in that room that we are going to, in love, discuss these things and celebrate the diversity of the body of Christ and the thoughts that we can have, but be unified, fight for the unity of the essentials of things of our faith, and let that trickle down through our church. And so have we done it perfectly? No way. But I think we've done a good job of trying to bridge diversity as a whole and celebrate it, but then say, hey, but this is what unifies us. And so, we do communion every Sunday, which has been a beautiful thing for us because oftentimes myself or whoever is leading that communion moment of the service, that is a reminder that we constantly give to our church. Listen, this whole week, everyone's going to different places, or you've come from different places, backgrounds, thoughts, upbringings, cultures, all of that. But the beauty of this bread and cup is that this is what brings us together.
Yeah.
And so we reemphasize Sunday after Sunday who we are primarily as brothers and sisters in Christ, even though God has created us in these diverse ways. And so, it's worked for us. I don't know if I'll be writing any books on it ever, but I think God's been very gracious to us. Yeah. And we've treated it as something to steward. Like we need to steward this diverse church.
I think you've done it really well.
Thank you.
And matter of fact, I'm sure if somebody's listening to this and maybe they find themselves in the same situation, like revitalizing, taking over a church, whatever, and feeling like they're on that island by themselves. Like you said, you felt like, I would just encourage them to have someone like you. They can find you on social media or something.
They can reach out. I'm not on social media anymore. So,
look at you. I'm proud of you, man.
Those been 2 years, I think.
Trademark Church. We'll put something in the
Trademark Church. Or they can email me or whatever too. So whatever.
But you just, I can't say it enough, man. I think you and the team, it's been hard work, God's grace.
Yeah.
He's breathing on Trademark, and it's just really cool to get to see, man. And so
it's been an honor for us to get to have a little bit of glimpse into what God's been doing.
Yeah, man.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Y'all helped us truthfully turn a corner. So I think if I can continue on just for a minute, I think you go into something, whether it's a church plan or anything, and you're running plays. And then about 3-4 years later, you find out, the uniqueness of who we are, going through that practice of like, what are the things we are? And then what are the things that we aspire to be? And then there's this shift that takes place of like kind of becoming your own. Mm-hmm. And you guys were catalytic in us turning that corner. Mm-hmm. Things were going great, but it was still like, I don't know if we really know who we are. I feel like we've taken some identity pieces that are great and they've worked and used them, but now we're really discovering who we are as a church, our unique calling to the kingdom, our unique expression of this wonderful faith. And those things that we went through with you guys, identifying those statements really helped us turn the corner into like, okay, we know who we are fully now and who we are also going to become, or who we want to become, aspire to be. So thank you guys.
Man, we love you, man.
Love y'all too.
For your time.
Thanks for hanging with us today.
Yeah. Thanks y'all for having me. Hopefully this was beneficial for y'all too.